Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today I'm showing you one of the cards I've made for a swap group that I belong to, and I'm using the Sailing Home set from the new catalogue, and I'm using the DSP and some of the twine and a couple of the dies, and that's all. It's really a simple card to make. And it's one of those cards where you get to see the DSP and you actually see both sides. So this is the back of this design and you see it on the inside of your card. It's quite an economical card to make because you don't use a full-size piece of cardstock for your main card. You can see it's sort of like half of a card and then plus a 1-inch strip. And the piece that you cut off is what I use for, all the little accents and things. So I'm going to make this card with this paper, but I'm using different colours, just to show you how you can change things up a little bit and get the most of your paper. Now the paper itself, let me get it. It comes in 12 by 12 and it's all double-sided. And I could have used a whole front of the paper, but I actually wanted to save it a little bit, and by doing it this way I'm only cutting it 4 inches wide, so I'm getting sort of 6 pieces for cards instead of only getting 4 or something. So this is what I'm going to do, and I'll show you the sizings that I used. So first of all, I started off with an ordinary card front, and that's because I already have these all pre-cut. So let me show you. In my box, I always have a selection of colours and they're ready just to go to make a card. So I just took out the ones that I thought matched my DSP. And so I chose the Night of Navy and the Crumb Cake and the Mossy Meadow, because on the back it's the Mossy Meadow paper. So today's, let's put those back away. So today's I'm going to use the Crumb Cake. And because these are already cut to size, I didn't have to work out, this would be 4 1/4. So I'm going to cut it at 5 1/4 and score it at 1 inch or anything like that. I just cut the card into half, scored it at 4 1/4, folded it over, pressed it down with my bone folder, as though it were a normal card. And then I'm going to get my trimmer and I'm going to measure 1 inch from this score mark here. So we're actually cutting off 3 1/4 inches. So here's where my score is. I know it's going to be 1 inch after that. So I'm going to line it up. Oh, no, I'm not doing it that way. I'm going to turn it round, do it the other way, it's easier for me. Okay, so I'm just going to go across here to 3 1/4. And I know that the piece that's left here will be 1 inch. Okay, so that's it done. And then I'm using some of my small strips to do this little accent piece. And I'm going to use a navy piece. And some of these, you can see, I don't even cut them all the same width. It depends what I have left. Here's another piece, a bit thicker. I think this one looks about 1/2 inch. This is just over 1/4 inch. And it doesn't matter which size you cut because you only need a tiny bit. So let's pop that down. And this piece, I'm just going to attach sort of to the inside or the underneath and leave just that little bit showing. Now, if you wanted it to be more fancy, let me just get my glue. If you wanted it to be more fancy, you could use like one of the ribbon punches or one of the dies that cut out a slightly different shape. But I didn't need it to be fancy, and I just wanted it, to stick and leave a tiny bit out. So there's that. A little bit of glue just there, just take off. Okay, so that's just the very narrow strip that I need. I think I need to change my blade as it's starting to fray the card here. There we go. And then for my piece that goes inside, I'd cut those 12 by 12 pieces down to 4 inches, and then I'm going to cut the length of this to 5.5. And here's one I've already done, so it's 4 inches across and 5.5 down. And you will end up with just a little piece. Let me see if I've got one on the table. Just a little piece left over. Oh, here they are. So this way I actually cut it in half and then took the 1/2 inch off. Whereas this one, I just took an inch piece off the bottom and then cut the piece in half. So you do get a little bit left over, but that's great for putting it inside the card. So this piece is 4 by 5.5, and I'm going to line it up, not right in the middle here, but so that this right-hand side edge just meets the card, and so that you can't see it. And I'm going to put a strip of glue just down here. I'm just going to move it off for now so that you can see where I'm putting the glue. Okay, that's all you need, just one little strip. You can use fast fuse if you still have any left. You can use snail, you can use Tombow, and I have even made these cards and used tear and tape. When I was on vacation and I'd run out of all my normal glues, I used tear and tape and it worked perfectly. Okay, so there we go. That's that. And on my other card, I did actually have a tiny strip, and I popped it inside here. I don't have another little strip of navy cut, but you could put a little piece in there if you wanted. Okay. So the next thing we need is the sentiment. And the sentiment I've chosen is, oh, where's my, there it is. I've chosen this one, the Set Sail in the Direction of Your Dreams. And there are other sentiments on here if you want, but because it was a sailing boat, I liked the idea of it having the sentiment that had sailing in it. And I'm just going to stamp this in navy on a scrap piece of paper. And these are the new cling stamps. And just be careful when you take them off your clear block, because sometimes it can be difficult just to get the edge of it up. And I found the best thing to use is this. Turn this round and use the little spatula piece, because that just gets in underneath and lifts it nicely, and so you don't end up tearing anything. Okay, I'm just going to clean my stamp. I love these cards where they're really easy to make, and if you want to make half a dozen at a time, you can, and there's no long-winded steps in making it. There's nothing that's difficult to do, but you can make each one different. You can use all different sorts of DSP, and every single card looks different. Okay, so here is my sentiment. When I did the other sentiments, what I did was I cut them out with one of our layering circles and then the scalloped piece from the layering circles. But I actually want to see how it looks using our punches. So I've got the 2-inch punch here, and I need to leave a little bit at the top, but not evenly distributed. I want a bit more space at the bottom because I wanted to put either a little bow or a knot or something in. So don't worry that it doesn't look quite even. There we are. See, I've got a little bit at the top but more at the bottom. Okay, and then that's my 2-inch punch, and then I'm going to use the starburst punch because this is a 2 1/4 inch, and that just gives you a nice amount. Let me find a little piece of navy. I think I'm going to try this stamped out in the navy, and I'm going to also cut one out in the crumb cake, so I'm not quite sure yet which of the colours I want. save these bits for more of the cutting later on. Okay, so this is with the crumb cake. You see how that's just a perfect little piece left round. But actually, I think I'm going to put it on with the navy. Yeah, I like the navy. So I'm going to attach that to the navy one. And this is something that you could prepare in advance. You could do all of your sentiments and all of your die cutting or punching. Makes it so much quicker. And then from the die set, what I did was I have some little pieces of offcuts of vellum that aren't quite big enough for, you know, the fronts of cards and things. So I used some of my offcuts, and I've used this die cut here, oops, which is sort of like seaweed, I think. You could cut it out in card, but I liked the idea of it being cut out in vellum. And so here is my little vellum piece. Okay, and then what I did was I just placed this here to work out where I needed my vellum to be, because I want it to stick out a little bit, and I don't want to have it glued down all the way. I just wanted a little bit sticking out. So I sort of worked out, oh right, that's going to be this little sailing boat here. I can attach behind here. So I just put a few glue dots on. You're not going to see them. It doesn't matter if they overhang the vellum, because that will just give a little bit more adhesion. So it's going to be about here. Just let me put this back so I know how far to the left. There. And then just stick that down. Okay. Now this I'm going to attach with our dimensionals. So I would like it just to stick up a little bit. And when your card is quite a simple one, if you have a raised layer, it just gives that extra little look of more dimension and more layers. Okay, now I'll just do the inside and then we'll finish the outside. What I did was I just cut a piece of plain Whisper White, and it's cut at 4 by 5.5, no, 5 1/4, I beg your pardon. And I'm just going to attach it there. And I used one of the sailing boat stamps in crumb cake just so that it matched some of the other colours, and I just stamped it in the corner. If you didn't want to put an image on there, this is the little piece cut from the bottom of here. Let's turn that over so you're not looking at the stamped image. You could always just put a little piece of the paper across. You could turn it over so that it matched this piece. You could just stamp a sentiment in there, or you could leave it plain, whatever works. I think sometimes I like them to be plain if I want to do a lot of writing, but sometimes it's nice just to have a little image in there, just to draw your eye to somewhere on the card. And also because it matches the outside card, it just draws it all together. Okay, so now I need my twine, and for the first card I tried making a little bow to go on the front, and I really didn't care for the bow. It sort of looked, I don't know, it just wasn't the image I was going for. So I decided to go back to my Girl Guide days and to tie one of the knots that we used to tie all the time, which was a reef knot. I just cut a small piece of twine, and a reef knot is left over right and under, right over left and under. And that's a flat knot when you have tied it. And you see how it's sort of like two little loops intertwining. And let me show you that one again. So you just hold it straight in your hand, this left over right, and it goes under, and then right over the left hand side piece, and it goes under. Okay, so there we are. That's your little reef knot. And I'm just going to cut the middle of that circle. And I'm going to attach it just on here with a glue dot. Nothing fancy, nothing special. Just a little glue dot there. And then I'm just going to move the edges of the twine out while I decide how long I want it to be. And I want it to go just to the end of the white circle. If you don't have this twine, you can use any colour of baker's twine that matches your card, or the linen thread. I don't know why I can't cut that piece. There we go. Linen thread would look really good. Ribbon is probably a little bit too wide to tie in a reef knot and for it to look sort of flat like that. But there you go. That's my card all made. If you wanted to jazz it up even more, you could use some of the trinkets that go with this set. And especially if you used maybe this sentiment, the let hope be your anchor through the storms of life, that would be really nice stamped on there with the little anchor on. Maybe, you know, instead of the little reef knot here, or instead of a bow, the little anchor would look really good. So there we are, a really quick and easy card where you get to appreciate both sides of your DSP, and it makes a great little card, not using much in the way of DSP or card, and really simple stamping. So it's easy to make a full set of them. They would be great on the note cards too. If you just scaled down the paper and made it a whole set of note cards with them, that would look really pretty. So there we are. Thank you very much for watching me. If you like my videos, please think about subscribing. At the moment, I think there are 585 people who watch the videos and have subscribed, and I'm trying really hard to get up to 1,000, and then when I've got 1,000, I'll pick a stamp set from the catalogue and we'll have a contest, and I'll just pick somebody's name and they'll win the stamp set. So if you'd like to subscribe, please do. If you would share with your friends, that would be great too, because we'd get to that 1,000 subscribers even quicker. And if you want to be notified of any of my videos, just press the little bell on the side. Thanks ever so much for watching, everybody. I'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.